Okay, we're here to help add hair, which I've pinned on temporarily. I'm not overly happy. It's moved around a bit when I pinned it on, but you're going to get an idea. This is called it's fringe ostrich feathers, double layer. You can get single layer or double layer. I would say pay a little more and get double layer because you get more coverage with less. If you go single layer with the fringe ostrich feathers, you use 10 times as much, and then you end up paying 10 times as much. So that's just a matter of opinion. These came pre-dyed for me. You can buy them in white and dye them, which I might do a video sometime down the road on showing you how to dye ostrich feathers. Okay? So I'm going to take out all the pins and kind of start over and show you, well, I'm just going to give you ideas on how to sew. Again, we don't have time for you to watch me. It takes a while to sew these things on. But I learned a few things doing one puppet, and there might be more information out there, but I think I had a pretty good way of doing this method, and just figuring it out. And it takes a little while fooling around. I know there's really no information out there, but this method could be used for other methods in a situation where it's fringe. It doesn't have to be just with ostrich feathers like I'm using. So first off, you're going to determine where you want the feathers to lay, right? You want to know what's the lowest point you want the feathers to lay on your puppet's face, or where you want the puppet hair to start. So I've decided I think that would be a good starting point. Now this puppet isn't done. Normally I would not be adding hair, especially this type of hair because it's so delicate, until the very end. It would be the last step, but I'm a little stuck on this puppet's face on what to do. So I am just going to move ahead and slightly demo it, what I would normally do with working with feathers. You also have to determine how far back you want the feathers to fall. This is your bottom line. This is basically where the feathers will basically be at the base of the head, of the skull, where the hair will grow. What you'll start doing is wrap around and around until it gets small enough to the center, and you'll have the whole entire head covered. So now what you do is get your needle and thread, good old needle and thread. Regular thread is just fine. It's not heavy stuff to hold on. I double threaded it, which means it's 2 threads knotted together with the needle. Okay? And I would just start at the back here, and I would just stick to the material if your puppet's covered in materials. If not, you probably would have to glue this on. It'd be pretty hard to sew into the foam. Now what I found with this, it might be hard to see. I realize now that I should have used a darker thread to at least demonstrate to you what it looks like. I might have some dark thread already threaded here, so let me just get started here. But as you can see, I'm not doing a fancy stitch at all. It's simply I'm twirling it around, and I just need enough for it to hold into place. Let me try this. It's a small piece, but at least you can see what method I'm using. Normally, again, you would want to match the fleece that you're using or the color of the feathers that you're using. Either way, it would hide the stitch good enough normally. Anyways, okay, so here's the black. Hoping you can see that. And I'm just simply grabbing it and moving it forward. And can you see how it's wrapped around there? Let me do another stitch. I'm just going to grab it where it's at. Just go around where the fringe, white area is of the fringe, and I just wrap it around. This is where I need a third hand. Probably less brains and more hand power. So here we go again. It's not a fancy stitch that I'm doing at all. I'm just kind of grabbing a little bit of material under where the fringe is, just like that. I'm pushing it through, and I'm letting the thread, without grabbing the feathers, just pull them out before you pull too tight. You want all your feathers out and not being caught, and then just pull snugly, and now you've got it. Okay? Let's do it one more time. So I'm grabbing it underneath, and this is all I really used all the way around, and it held the Frankenstein's hair very well, and it certainly isn't budging or moving. So you can see pretty cleanly where the black stitches are and what method I'm using to hold it in place. Okay? And I would do that constantly around the entire head, all the way around, all the way around, all the way all around. Okay? So when you get back here, what I would be doing for the next layer, again, I don't have time to sew the whole head on during this video, but I would say it was about a half an inch. Let me measure quickly my Frankenstein while I have him here. Actually, it's almost 1 inch. It's a little less than an inch between each layer that I used. To give, especially when you're using, again, double, I'm using the double fringe. And so I would be giving about an inch in from this line to where my next line will be. Okay, so it doesn't have to be an exact art, but I certainly gave it a little less than an inch. And okay, and there's a little hint from Sean from Puppets and Stuff, who says, a little hint for sewing feathers: lay a piece of fabric over your feathers so the thread does not get caught in your feathers. So thank you, Sean, for that. I appreciate that. So anyways, 1 inch from this line to about a little less than an inch to the next area, and you would start there and you would sew all the way around. Okay? Because this head's much smaller, I don't need as much fringe to go on with it. So it's about an inch there. Now it's getting all tangled up on me. And you just keep going around and around. I'm going to pin it for you for now so it doesn't shift on me too much. And when you get near the end, that's where it gets tricky. That's where I was having some problems getting the hair just right. So we're going to keep going all the way around. And again, I'm giving it about an inch, just under an inch for each layer. It's hard to see it because it's hard to show it on the camera, but that's where it's at. And I'm just kind of guesstimating right now.